It is 5 a.m. Kenji, a young samurai, wakes up. He has a plan, a perfect plan. First, he will meditate for an hour. Then he will practice sword swings for an hour. Then he will study philosophy. Then he will clean the dojo. He has designed the perfect samurai day. On day 1, he does it all. He feels good. On day 2, he oversleeps by 30 minutes. Panic sets in. I am late, Kenji thinks. I missed the meditation. The schedule is ruined. He rushes the sword practice. He skips the reading. He feels guilty. He feels like a failure. By day 3, he gives up entirely and goes back to sleeping until noon. Master Hideo watches this from the doorway. You built a castle out of paper, Kenji, the master says. It looked beautiful, but the first wind that blew knocked it flat. You think discipline is a long list of tasks. This is vanity. Real discipline is not about how many things you can juggle. It is about what happens when you drop a ball. Right now, you are Kenji. You have watched the YouTube videos on the billionaire morning routine. You have a list: cold plunge, journal, meditate, read, workout, fast. You treat your day like a fragile house of cards. If you miss one card, if you hit snooze, or if the cold shower isn't cold enough, the whole house collapses. You say, well, I ruined the morning, might as well ruin the day. This is not a routine. This is a trap. You are building a system designed to fail the moment life gets messy. And life always gets messy. The samurai did not have morning routines. They had anchors. They understood that you cannot control the chaos of the day. You can only control the stakes you drive into the ground to hold you steady. Today, we are going to burn your to-do list. We are going to teach you the samurai method of Jiku, the axis. We are going to build a routine that is not a house of cards, but a fortress that gets stronger when things go wrong. The trap of optimization. Lodging here is Section 1, written strictly according to the locked format. Chapter 1. The Trap of Optimization. Kenji shows the master his scroll. It is a masterpiece of calligraphy. 5 o'clock, rise. 5:15, cold water purification. 5:30, Zen meditation. 6:30, sword drills, 1,000 swings. 7:30, literature study. Kenji smiles. It is perfect, master. Every minute is optimized for maximum growth. There is no wasted time. Master Hideo looks at the scroll. He takes a brush and draws a single black line through the middle of it. You have not designed a life, Hideo says. You have designed a prison. What happens if you have a bad night's sleep? Hideo asks. I will push through, Kenji stammers. What happens if your mother falls ill and needs you at 6 a.m.? I will adjust. No, you will not, the master says. You will panic, because your schedule has zero margin for error. You have built a machine with tight gears. If one grain of sand enters the machine, the whole thing explodes. You are trying to be a clock, but you are a human. This is the optimization trap. You believe that the perfect routine is a complex sequence of habits that must be performed in a specific order. You treat your morning like a Rube Goldberg machine. Coffee triggers journal. Journal triggers meditate. Meditate triggers workout. It looks impressive on Instagram. It is disastrous in reality. Because real life is not a sterile laboratory. Real life is a crying baby. Real life is a plumbing leak. Real life is a headache. When your routine is too complex, it becomes fragile. Fragile things break under stress. If you miss the gym, you feel like the day is ruined, so you eat a pizza. This is the what the hell effect. Once the chain is broken, you abandon the entire system. Master Hideo handed the scroll back to Kenji. Complexity is the enemy of execution. A warrior does not need a perfect morning to win a battle. A warrior needs a system that works even when he is tired, even when he is sick, and even when the world is burning. You are trying to add more things to your list to feel productive, but to build a routine that actually sticks, you must do the opposite. You must strip it down until it cannot be broken. You are addicted to the dopamine of planning. Writing the list feels like work. Buying the planner feels like progress. But it is a fake progress. You are building a skyscraper on a swamp. Before we can build the real castle, we must drain the swamp. We must stop trying to be optimal and start trying to be unbreakable. The theory of anchors. Master Hideo led Kenji outside to the military camp. A storm was brewing. The wind whipped the canvas tents violently. The fabric flapped and twisted, looking like it was about to tear away. "Look at the tent," Hideo shouted over the wind. "The walls are moving. The roof is shaking. It looks chaotic. But look at the ground." He pointed to the heavy iron stakes driven deep into the mud. The stakes do not move. Because the stakes are firm, the tent can endure the storm. If the stakes were loose, the tent would be gone. Your routine is a tent, Kenji. You are focusing on the fabric, the exact time you wake up, the exact order of your tasks. You are trying to control the wind. You cannot control the wind. You can only control the stakes. This is the principle of Jiku, the axis. A samurai does not have a 20-step routine. He has 2 or 3 iron anchors. These are the non-negotiables. If the day is chaos, if the battle is lost, if the castle burns, the anchors remain. This is the difference between a chain routine and an anchor routine. Most people build a chain. Wake up, coffee, meditate, read, gym. If link 3, meditate, breaks because the kids woke up screaming, the whole chain snaps. You don't get to the gym. The day collapses. An anchor routine is different. It says, I have 3 anchors today. 1, sweat. 2, read. 3, deep work. I don't care when they happen. I don't care about the order. If I miss the morning workout, I do push-ups at lunch. The anchor holds. The fabric of the day can flap in the wind, but the stakes stay in the ground. Kenji looked at his long scroll. So I should delete the rest? Yes, Hideo said. Burn the fluff. You have 15 habits. 12 of them are vanity. They make you feel cute, but they do not make you strong. You only need the keystone habits. Charles Duhigg, a modern researcher, identified that some habits matter 100 times more than others. If you exercise, you tend to eat better automatically. You tend to sleep better automatically. Exercise is a keystone. If you make your bed, it might look nice, but it doesn't change your biology. Making the bed is fluff. Kenji, the master commanded, pick 3 things. Not 10, 3. 3 things that if you did nothing else would make you a dangerous man in 1 year. Kenji thought. Sword practice, he said. Meditation and reading strategy. Good. Hideo nodded. Those are your stakes. Everything else, the tea ceremony, the journaling, the cold water, is just decoration. If you have time for decoration, fine, but never sacrifice the steak for the fabric. You are failing because you are majoring in minor things. You are obsessing over the temperature of your cold plunge, but skipping the deep work. You are obsessing over the type of journal you buy, but skipping the workout. You have heavy decoration and loose stakes. To build a routine that finally works, you must identify your big 3, and you must be willing to let everything else burn to protect them. Feinstein, the fluid execution. The next morning, chaos arrived. The shogun called for a surprise inspection at dawn. Kenji woke up with only 10 minutes before he had to be in uniform. His anchor said, "Sword practice, 1 hour." He looked at the clock. He looked at his sword. It is impossible, Kenji thought. I cannot do the hour. Therefore, I will do nothing. He reached for his uniform, deciding to skip the practice entirely. Master Hideo kicked the door open. "Why is your sword on the rack?" "I have no time," Kenji shouted. "I only have 10 minutes. I cannot do the full routine." "So you choose 0? Hideo asked. "If you cannot feast, do you starve? If you cannot run a mile, do you cut off your legs? Pick up the sword. You have 10 minutes? Then give me 1 hour of intensity in 10 minutes. Kenji grabbed the sword. He swung with a speed and fury he had never used before. He didn't rest. He didn't pace himself. He compressed the workout. By the time the 10 minutes were up, he was soaked in sweat, his muscles trembling. He had done 500 swings in the time it usually took to do 100. "You see," Hideo said, "the routine is like water. It takes the shape of the container. If the day gives you a barrel, you fill the barrel. If the day gives you a cup, you fill the cup. But you never leave the cup empty." This is the antidote to binary thinking. You are an extremist. You operate on a 1 or 0 switch. If you can't go to the gym for 60 minutes, you go for 0 minutes. If you can't read 20 pages, you read 0 pages. You think this is high standards. It is actually laziness disguised as perfectionism. The samurai operates on a dimmer switch. If he can't be at 100%, he goes to 50%, or 10%, or 1%. But he never goes to 0, because 0 destroys the habit. 1% preserves the habit. Science calls this the minimum effective dose, MED. Dr. Arthur Jones discovered that you can get 80% of the biological adaptation with 20% of the volume, if the intensity is high enough. A 5-minute workout where you push to failure is infinitely better than a 0-minute workout where you sit on the couch. When you skip a day, you are not just missing the benefits of that day. You are telling your brain, it is okay to quit when things get busy. You are weakening the neural pathway. Kenji put on his uniform, breathing hard. "I feel awake," he said. "Yes," Hideo nodded. "Because you kept the promise. The duration does not matter. The identity matters. A samurai is a man who trains every day, even if it is just one swing. Never let the lack of time be an excuse for the lack of honor. You must learn to compress. On a perfect day, do the full routine. On a chaos day, do the emergency version. Can't gym for an hour? Do 50 burpees in your underwear. Can't read a chapter? Read one paragraph. Can't meditate for 20 minutes? Take 3 deep, conscious breaths. The goal on a bad day is not growth. The goal is survival. You survive the chaos so you can fight again tomorrow. The evening audit. Subordinate. Birthday fell over the camp. Kenji lay on his mat, exhausted but satisfied. He had kept his anchors despite the chaos. Master Hideo sat by the fire, sharpening his knife. "The morning is for action," Hideo said. "The evening is for truth." Most men live their lives with their eyes closed. They repeat the same mistakes for 50 years and call it experience. To build a routine that works, you must become a scientist of your own life. You must run the audit. Hideo handed Kenji a small book. "Write down 3 things," he commanded. 1. What did I do? 2. What did I fail to do? 3. Why? Kenji wrote, "I missed the reading. Why? Because I was scrolling on my phone after dinner." "Stop," Hideo said. "Look at the why. You say you were scrolling, but that is not the root cause. Why were you scrolling?" "Because I was tired." "Why were you tired?" "Because I ate a heavy meal." "Ah," Hideo smiled. "So the problem is not the phone. The problem is the food. If you fix the phone, you will just find another distraction. If you fix the food, you fix the energy. This is Kaizen, continuous improvement. This is the technique of the 5 whys. When your routine fails, and it will fail, do not beat yourself up. Beating yourself up is useless. It is just another form of ego. Instead, get curious. Treat the failure like a mechanical breakdown. Why did the car stop? Because the tank is empty. Why is the tank empty? Because I didn't fill it. Why didn't I fill it? Because I was running late. Why was I running late? Because I stayed up too late playing video games. Root cause: video games. Solution: unplug the console at 9 p.m. Most of you are trying to fix the symptoms. You buy a better alarm clock. Symptom fix. Instead of going to sleep earlier. Root fix. You download a productivity app. Symptom fix. Instead of deleting Instagram. Root fix. The evening audit is your laboratory. It is where you look at the data of your day without judgment. You say, "This worked, this didn't. Tomorrow I adjust the variables." A routine is not a static document. It is a living organism. It must evolve. If you find that 5 a.m. is impossible because your baby wakes up at 4 a.m., then stop fighting reality. Change the anchor to 6 a.m. Adaptation is survival. Rigidity is death. Kenji closed the book. He realized that he had spent years trying to force a perfect routine onto his life, like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. Now he was carving the peg. He was shaping the routine to fit the reality of his existence. The castle is not built in a day, Hideo said, sheathing his knife. But if you lay one brick every day and check its alignment every night, eventually you will have walls that no storm can break. The unbreakable chain. 10 years later, Kenji is no longer a boy. He is a general. He stands on the wall of a real castle, one made of stone, not paper. His life is incredibly complex. He commands 1,000 men. He manages logistics, politics, and war. But if you watch him closely, his day looks remarkably simple. He wakes up. He trains with the sword. He sits in silence. He reads. The storm of war rages around him, but his anchors never move. He doesn't have a perfect routine. He has an unbreakable character. He built it not by adding more habits, but by refusing to negotiate on the few that mattered. You are standing in the ruins of your own paper castle right now. You are looking at a crumpled to-do list that you abandoned 3 weeks ago. You feel shame. You feel like you lack discipline. You do not lack discipline. You lack a system that respects reality. You are trying to run a marathon in a suit of armor that is too heavy for you. It is time to take off the armor. The samurai way is not about doing more. It is about doing less with absolute consistency. It is about identifying the 3 things that keep you sane and strong and defending them with your life. It is about realizing that a 10-minute workout is better than a 0-minute workout. It is about forgiving yourself for the bad days, analyzing the data, and trying again tomorrow. You have a choice tonight. You can write another complex list that you will quit in 3 days. Or you can plant 3 stakes in the ground. You can say, no. No matter what happens, no matter the weather, the mood, or the chaos, these 3 things get done. Even if they are small, even if they are ugly. Because a small chain that doesn't break is stronger than a giant chain that snaps at the first tug. The wind is blowing. The storm is coming. Your paper castle is gone. Pick up the hammer. Drive the stake. So tell me, what are your big 3 anchors? What are the 3 non-negotiable habits you will commit to, even if the world is burning? If you are ready to build the fortress, leave a comment. Drive the stake.